It's killed. That's what it is. It is cold in the neighborhood. So, I just wanted to talk about how I actually identify, given that I have bits and pieces of 2 reproductive systems. And to do that, I kinda have to go back to when they pulled me off the depot shot, because at the time I was just looking for something to function. I didn't really care what it was. And so I said I would go with whatever wanted to function the most natural without a lot of medical intervention. I didn't know what that was, and the doctor who pulled me off of the depot shot was pretty certain he knew what was gonna try working, but it turned out not to be the case. And I've just gone ahead and said, well, I align with what wants to work the most natural. Had no clue when I said that it'd be that it was going to be a testicle. But it's a testicle, so I choose to identify as an intersex man because I can't really say, oh, I identify as an intersex woman. That doesn't fit. And again, I understand that somebody else out there is going to have a completely different story and a completely different identification to me, and that's fine. That's the nature of these conditions. One person's story is not everybody's story, and that's just life. But how that pertains to me in, say, a church environment or socially, most people who see me out in the wild socially have no clue I was actually assigned female at birth. And those who were introduced, I was introduced to as female, outside of I think 1 or 2 people, have all said that they've all said that that doesn't fit right, that they don't like that. One of my teachers that I finally broke down and talked to, after it was all said and done, a couple months later, he came up to me and said, what am I supposed to call you? And I said, I don't know. And he's like, well, I'm not calling you by your first name. And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, oh, I'm calling you by your last name then, because that's a first name. And I said, oh, okay. I really didn't care. Now that I'm older, wiser, and I can look back at things, I can definitely see where some things weren't adding up for these poor teachers who, that's okay. I have the honor of saying I'm the weirdest person who's ever come through one of my teachers' offices. That doesn't make sense. Hello, kitty cat. Hello. Hello, kitty. Hello, kitty cat. How are you, kitty cat? Yeah, you don't care. You don't care that humans intersex. All you care about is the fact that human feeds you and plays with you. and lets you knock humans' phone off of its charger. You're such a good boy. You're such a big cat. No, not my cup. No, not my cat. You have the stinkiest breath. You have always had the stinkiest breath, cat. You have such stinky breath, kitty. Yes, you do. You have such stinky kitty breath. I don't know why. You've always had stinky kitty breath. Yeah, so, in regards to the church, or any religion at all, I don't expect the church to make special exceptions for me. At least not at this point in time. I'm pretty sure there's some sort of, I'm pretty sure there's something in the works to go through that, but at this point in time, I'm just kind of meh. It's not a too big of a concern of mine. There are 3 churches in this village. It's not a huge concern of mine. But in regards to, say, Relief Society or Elders Quorum, I choose to avoid them like the plague. Unless somebody has spotted me and wants me to attend a meeting with them or something, I will... Why are you headbutting me? I will avoid the second hour like the plague. I'm not required to... There's nothing that says I need to stay for second hour. They would like it if I would stay for second hour, but there's nothing that says I have to. So, that's where I'm comfortable with. I'm not comfortable... I'm just not comfortable going to anything outside of a sacrament meeting. I don't really know where that leads me in the church, but I'm not gonna say... I really don't know where it leads me in the church. I know socially where it puts me. I know that it's complicated, and you've got people asking me, you know, when they ask my identification, I give them my last name, and they're like, oh, well, what's your last name? And I have to go, yeah, we'll talk about that later, because it's kind of complicated. It's complicated. Let's just leave it at that. Whereas, again, people who have known me before any of this mess happened is just like, yeah, your first name never really fit. You know, you didn't seem like that name. And I said, oh, thank you. I guess. I hadn't really thought of it before. So yeah, how do I identify? I identify as a man, an intersex man. Do I ever expect the church to, or any church really, it doesn't matter if it's LDS or another church, do I expect them to make special circumstances for me? No, I don't. That's just how I roll. I'm pretty easygoing. I'm not gonna sit here and demand special circumstances be made for me because of a condition I was born with that is completely out of control right now. They need to quit giving me seeds in this game. That's how I see it. I don't expect special circumstances, so... Anyways, I'm off.